It's a very great pleasure of mine to welcome Chris Coleman.
Sir Alex Ferguson was fantastic.
Yeah.
As long as you didn't take any points off him. Remember when Jack Charlton was there?
Yeah.
And Jack was recruiting.
He's finding them everywhere.
He was, yeah.
Have you got a grandma?
Yeah.
Is your grandma Irish? Is your dad Irish? Is your granddad Irish? How was your Chinese, by the way?
Not good. It's better than my Welsh.
How bad were Manchester United? Is there a club that you almost managed that nobody knows about?
There's a nightclub in Croydon I always
What was it like working with Mohammed Al Fayed at Fulham? Do you have any standout stories? Welcome back to No Tippy Tappy Football, brought to you by William Hill, and welcome back! Yay!
Hey, back at last, Dave.
He's off his winter break. How are you, Sam?
I'm very good, thank you. I've been chilled out watching you on my phone on holiday, so keeping an eye on you.
Good.
Looking at the guests, like everything going nice and smoothly, obviously. So, especially when I saw Sir Kenny on last week.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. Yeah, I'm just gutted. I missed him, because I know him so well. But yeah, it's really good. Glad to be back, and obviously looking forward to today, particularly with my guest.
Well, we're so happy to have you back, and a big thank you to everybody that watched the Sir Kenny Dalglish episode, our most watched episode ever. No surprises there. We said last week that we're giving away a signed Liverpool shirt, signed personally to you by Sir Kenny Dalglish. Just to let you know that we'll be announcing the winner of that on Twitter in the next couple of days, so you have an extra couple of days to comment on the YouTube video, and we're picking somebody at random. We've just had an unbelievable amount of entries and an unbelievable amount of people that have viewed that, so thank you to everybody that has viewed that. And hopefully you subscribed after, and that's why you're here again. So, Sam, would you like to introduce our guest for today?
Yes, many years we go back. We've pitted our wits against each other as managers over the years, and we've shared a few scoops here and there, and looked after each other wherever we might have been, and talked about football, and talked about after the game about getting together and creating a contact over the years, like you mean. So whenever you're on the phone, if you ring him, he rings back. I ring him, he rings me. We've talked over the years about what's happening in the game, the stuff that we need to talk about. Sometimes we can't talk with anybody else. So it's a very great pleasure of mine to welcome Chris Coleman. Chris, thank you very much.
Big Sam, nice to have you. Thank you.
All the way from Winchester, by the way. So thank you very much.
Thank you for travelling up.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. So we always start, I like to know, so we hear from Sam there that your paths have crossed many times, but for you, when do you remember your paths crossing with Sam?
The first time my path crossed with Sam, we were players, and Sam was I think captain of Preston.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. Remember the AstroTurf pitch?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
The bad AstroTurf.
Oh, it was like playing on the car park.
It was, yeah.
That's the first time, and I remember Sam being like this. I was younger. I was just making my way with Swansea, and Sam was experienced centre back.
Sorry, I can't remember this
yeah.
far back. Unfortunately, I am getting on a bit. Preston was a long time, but yeah, good.
And I remember our striker, Colin Pascoe, he came off
Yes.
afterwards in pieces. Big Sam had paid him a little bit of attention. So we came off after. I think we lost. You might have even scored, Sam. Might have even scored from a corner or something. But that was my first time I passed cross, and afterwards. When I was a captain of Fulham, and remember before the game, the manager, the captain would go to the referees.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Well, at the time there was another Coleman player. It was a Simon Coleman. So I went into the referees room with Kevin Keegan. Big Sam was I think maybe in Bolton or something
Bolton,
like that. Yeah. And anyway, we were talking with the referees, and as we were walking out, Big Sam says, "Kevin, good luck." And he said to me, "Simon, good luck." I thought he didn't even know my name. So that was the and then afterwards, I got the job at Fulham as a young manager. I think I was only 32, and Sam had got promoted with Bolton, doing great things with Bolton in Europe. And I called him after that. We played at home, and Bolton hammered us. We won 2-1. Bolton were winning 1-0, and I think we scored in the last 10 minutes. 2 goals. And then I called Sam up, and I'll never forget, I called Sam up after the game. And we had a really good conversation, because I always felt, because I got the Fulham job as a 32-year-old, I hadn't really earned that job. I hadn't been promoted. I hadn't been a manager anywhere, I got the job because I'd been at the club 5 years. I'd been the captain. The chairman took a big chance on me. And that's how I got it. And I always felt like an imposter a little bit in the first year or two, because I hadn't really earned that job. I was just lucky. So then when Sam said earlier, our paths would cross, and you probably wouldn't even remember, but I used to pick his brains a lot without him knowing. Just ask him little questions, because he'd been there, seen it and done it. So, and I think over the years then that relationship develops. Sam, Steve Bruce, David Moyes, Paul Jewell was managing at the time, and I had a lot of respect for these guys, because they'd all been managers for much longer than me, and that's where I think those relationships are built.
Wow, it's amazing to hear.
Did we not have a trip to Bordeaux, me and you?
I think that was
with the LMA.
That was one of the best trips.
One of the best trips ever.
It was amazing. We ended up just you and me and Moisey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting in a bar like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
French chalets out the way, tucked away. Nobody could see us, hear us. No. Barclays sponsored it with LMA.
That's right. Yeah, it was amazing.
Managers a couple of days away just to chill out.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Why was it so good?
Because it was just us, and it was just us speaking football without sounding like big time Charlies or anything, but just us around the table, eating fantastic food, drinking amazing wine, and just like chewing the fat, and it was fantastic. It was amazing. I think was that Howard Wilkinson that organised that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keith Pinner it was who was the main man.
Right.
He's not with us now, Keith. You know Keith. Well, yes, Keith. He was really big in terms of the work he did with Barclays in the Premier League, and he was the one that would pull up this. The sad thing was, I'd ring up some managers, they wouldn't come, and I'd go, "Are you stupid or what? This is like managers round the table just for a couple of days, because we all know how busy we are." I said, "You can put the game away for a day or two, surely." And off we go. So none of that happens anymore, sadly. So
it is sad, yeah.
Yeah, it is very sad, but yeah, it was a good.
Because we were still, on the Saturday play against each other, and everybody wants to win just as much as the next guy,
Yeah.
But those I should remember like the LMA dinners. I enjoyed that, and that get together was fantastic.
Yes,
because like you say, we put it away a bit and just had a chat with each other as like normal human beings, because sometimes we're not deemed as normal.
Love to be a fly on the wall in that, by the way. The conversations about football that you must have been putting the world to rights in that. It's amazing to hear you talk about imposter syndrome, because I think it's something that everybody has felt at some point. But the idea that a top football manager would feel imposter syndrome is fascinating.
I think because the football industry is brutal. It's brutal. It's I know people look at it from a distance and it looks like it's easy. It is the best life. It's the most rewarding as a player if you're lucky enough to stay in it and be a manager or a coach. It is very rewarding. I don't mean financially rewarding. I mean as going to work, being a part of something that's being built, and especially if you're in a winning team, you're part of that. There's no feeling like that. But it is brutal also, because you're up against very good other people who are very good at their jobs. So the pressure's on. But I never had that as a player. I only had it as a manager, because I'd had 5 games at Fulham as a caretaker, and then I found myself in the job. Super lucky. And that's why I felt that. And I felt that for like 1 or 2 years. It was only after I'd been there 3 or 4 years, I thought, okay, all right, I've done 150 games or whatever with Fulham. I can make a career out of this somewhere.
It's unusual, to be successful when you drop into your first job at such a high level. Because, I'd done the rounds, I'd done the apprenticeship, I'd done like Limerick and Blackpool and Notts County, and so I'd done like sort of work in the lower divisions, and then the experience again from there to go when you finally get up the leagues to be in the Premier League I found it challenging, and I'd done like 10 years as a manager nearly, so I found it really, really challenging to deal not just with the players, but to deal with all the euphoria that went around the Premier League, the press, the organisation, the travel, the intrusion on your life, the intrusion by everybody on the Premier League being so popular worldwide. It's where you had to live with it and change how you handled it. Otherwise, I don't think you survive. So to do it from day one, when you get a caretaker's job, and he does that well, they give him the job. So, and to continue from there, we've seen quite a few managers go into a job, straight away, and then all of a sudden, like 6 months, 8 months later, they're gone.
I remember speaking with all the names we mentioned earlier, Big Sam, Moyes. It might have been on that trip, Sam, to Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like, if you can last your first season,
Yes.
you've got a really good chance of being in it a long time, because so many don't last the first season, and then if you get two jobs wrong back to back,
If you're done,
it's
normally.
not even saying if you get the third, you probably don't get the third job. It's that tough. Yeah. And I remember having that conversation. I remember thinking, I've got to get it right. I've got to last the season. Maybe I can make a career out of it. So on one hand, we were in this incredible chateau in France. I'm like rubbing shoulders with, these managers are in the best league in the world, and I'm doing that. And then on another hand, I'm thinking, I don't belong here because I haven't earned it. So there was always this tug of war going on, and like I said earlier, until 2 or 3 years into it, I thought, okay, no, I can be a manager somewhere. I think I can cope with it, and I can do it.
I firmly believe that you make your own luck in life, because you'd obviously done all your coaching badges.
Yeah.
You'd obviously made people aware that that's where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then when you got the opportunity for the caretaking, you took it. So I think sometimes we're a bit hard on ourselves when we call it luck.
I think, yeah, I you do make your own luck, and I think you do it. Wherever, I'm a great believer in attraction, and it's wherever you feel in the vibration you're giving off, you attract certain things. I think there's a lot of truth in that. But for me, the whole situation there, I'd only just done my B license with Fulham. So I had to do my A license, my pro license, my manager's diploma. I was doing this while I was doing a job at Fulham. So I hadn't...
that's very difficult. You never had a holiday then?
No. I was like, every other weekend, I was doing my pro license. Yeah. I think there was 18 or 20 different modules.
That's right,
what it is. Like, yeah. So you got to do all of that. So it's kind of like, I'm not sure it's a good idea learning how to fight in your first fight. Sometimes that can go horribly wrong. So, but I will say it was really helpful having like Sam, and I keep saying Moyes and Steve Bruce, because they're people you could call and say, look, I'm in this situation. Mm-hmm. Sir Alex Ferguson was fantastic.
Yeah.
As long as you didn't take any points off him, you take your call. You take your call, and he was absolutely perfect, fantastic. And that was, that was good for me as a young manager to have someone at the end of a phone that you can call.
We've heard that on this show so many times, Sam, and I think it's something really interesting that perhaps us outside of the football, it's in a circle, don't know. I mean, I can reel off so many names of people we've had on this show that have said they have called you at some point in their career.
Only Natalie, that's only because when I started, it happened for me. When I could pick the phone up to Harry Bassett, Jim Smith, Alex Ferguson, Howard Wilkinson, all those managers then, Bobby Robson. You could have a conversation with them. They'd come in your office after the game and, have a chat about it, like you mean, whether you were gutted or whether you weren't gutted, whether you'd won, whether you'd lost or not. We spent, maybe only half an hour together, but some of the important information that you could pick up within that half an hour. Yeah. We used to have, sadly we don't now, we used to have League Managers and Coaches Association week at the end of the season, where we'd all come together at Mottram Hall or university down in Warwick, and spend as much time on the technical side of football, but also spend as much time in the bar talking to each other than you could learn. You can technically. In the classroom, you can't learn what you can learn in the bar. It's two totally different educations. You listen to what Jim Smith's talking about and Howard and Sir Alex Ferguson and Howard Wilkins and people like that, Bobby Robson, and you go, wow, this is my learning curve. This is where I need to retain this information and move on. And how do I move on as a manager? And then I've always said, as many managers told me, you always go your own way. You use that information and then you decide where you go. and you don't be copying anybody from there. And that's what used to happen. It's not like that now. World changes. More foreign coaches don't come in for a drink. We accept that, and that's not their culture. We can still have a conversation with some or most, but generally it's after all the press now. It's very rarely after the game because they have to get off, get the plane back or get the train back, or so there's not that link. We can have a bit of a chat before, you know what I mean, but it's still the way the world has gone, and we have to accept as we go. It moves on. So
I spoke once with Howard Wilkinson at one of these. I remember what you're saying there at the end of the season, and I sat with Howard we were having a drink at the bar. It was full of it. You were there. Everybody was there, and Howard spoke with me for 2 hours about a set play, set piece, one set piece, and we were dissecting it because you know what Howard's like when he gets into it. But I learned so much from him, and I remember going back to Fulham, changing one or two things because of that conversation I had with Howard Wilkinson, because of his experience. And I remember Speeds used to say to me when he was at Leeds, he said, the gaffer's really good. He's like, these details, he said, you can go on a bit, but his detail's fantastic. And then I spoke to him at one of those events. 2 hours we were together, like everybody's having a few beers, and I was just sat with him. 2 hours we spoke just on one set play. Wow. He was amazing.
His son's an academy coach at Manchester.
Yeah, no surprise.
No surprise. Obviously, very, very highly successful academy. Let's do a job check.
Go on then.
A job check. We'll go over to Chris first.
We have to say this, Chris. We have to say this. Lots of our guests, so you're going to pinch your line.
You do it, Sam.
I pinched your line, haven't I?
Because
Natalie said this quite a few times. A lot of our guests, within the space of a month, have got another job.
Oh, right.
So you might be another one. So
I think we're on 8 now, Chris.
We're on
really?
8.
I think we're on 8. Yeah.
Wow.
So you have been heavily linked with the Republic of Ireland job.
Yeah.
Is there any truth in that?
There was a little bit of truth in it, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That's my dad was born and bred Dublin boy, so he moved to Swansea when he was 25 or 26. So I got strong links. His brothers and sisters, all Dublin people, and obviously his mum and dad. So got strong links with Ireland. That's always been there. I actually nearly went and played for it. I remember when Jack Charlton was there. Yeah. And Jack was recruiting.
He's finding him everywhere.
He was, yeah.
Have you got a grandma? Yeah. Is your grandma Irish? Is your dad Irish? Is your granddad Irish? Is your great-granddad Irish?
He didn't care. Any link, So I nearly, he called us up, and but I'd already played for Wales, so I wasn't available. But there was, of course, because I had 5 or 6 years with Wales, so there was always going to be that link, but that's not something that's going to happen. No.
Your most recent job was in Greece. You've also been in China as well. You've travelled the world. Are you back here? Do you want a job in England?
Not really, no. And
how is your Chinese, by the way?
Not good. It's better than my Welsh. But no, China. I quite like. So I was probably trying to be not clever in a smarmy way, but when I first started, I thought if I get the chance to manage abroad, then there's more options rather than just staying at home where you're out.
Challenging.
Yeah, and there's only so many jobs because there's a lot of good managers out at work. So I thought if I I've been to Spain, China, Greece, twice Greece. And I quite like working in a different country and a different culture. And I was saying to Sam earlier, it was nice. I lived in Athens for 2 years, and it's a fantastic place. You're out every day because it rarely rains. The football's challenging. It's an aggressive league, the Greek Super League, and it's everywhere's results based, but it's quite fiery there. Because it's in their personality. It's in their temperament, So the owner of the club I was at, Atromitos, was a really good guy, shipping guy, but huge, massive passion for football. Atromitos was his baby. So we had, you got to get results, and he'd be in my room if we weren't playing well, even if we won, but we didn't play well. It was all about representing Peristeri is where the area where Atromitos is from. A lot of passion, and it's a tough environment, but really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the passion from all the people there, and enjoyed Athens is beautiful. So I quite like working abroad. The downside, I couldn't take my family. was only a 3-hour flight, but that was tough. When I went to China, my family came to China. Athens,
How did your
because
family go on in China, if you don't mind?
great,
asking?
fantastic.
Were they okay?
Because we lived like in a community where
Yeah.
the kids had a great school. It was a British school they went
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
It's fantastic, absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. But we had, because of the language, and you can't drive there. So the club provide us with a driver and an interpreter 24/7. So, and without that, it probably would have been wouldn't have lasted a year, because it's quite tough. But because we had that with us all the time, we could get about, we could communicate because we had an interpreter. It's fantastic, and that was a good experience. But Greece been in Greece twice, and been in Spain, and every time I've been abroad, it's not just a challenge of winning; it's a challenge of, can I stay here for a season or two, crack it, rather than lasting 4 or 5 months and falling flat in your face. And I've done that before, and I like that challenge.
Yeah. Can I just, sorry to interrupt you there. How did you get into that job? Was it your agent? Was it your agent that just got you the interview? Did you get the interview and then they were impressed with the interview, so you got the job, or did they just say, "Well, you've done this well in the Premier League, you did this," and then you?
I think it's because
said,
I've been in Greece before with a team called Larissa, and we done quite well. But I left Larissa, and then I went to Wales. So obviously my profile was Fulham and Wales.
Then the Euros. Got to mention the Euros.
Not to mention the Euros.
Yeah.
So, but then when I got a phone, this was in the December, and they were like bottom of the league, and I spoke to them, and they said, "Look, we've kind of agreed with someone else for the job, but we didn't know you were available." But the other guy they were speaking to ended up, they didn't agree. Something happened that, like, you know what happens. That happens in contracts. Something happens. You think you got it. Last minute, something changes. We don't agree. So I went there. But I remember having a conversation with the technical director there. His name is Yanni Agalopoulos. The most fiery, passionate man you can ever. And like Atromitos is everything. He's been there 20 years. And he's a great guy, fantastic guy. You know exactly where you are. And I quite like that with people, He doesn't dust it up,
Yep.
So I had 2 years with him, and the first phone call with him, I thought, I'm probably not going to get this one. It was a shame, because what he was saying and everything, I quite liked what he was saying, and I thought he'd be a good guy to work with. And then like 2 days later, he called me back and said, "That's finished. We want you to come." And that's how that happened. And it was 2 great years there.
My best friend is Greek. Her dad is Greek. She was born here, but her family were born in Greece. So I know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to the fiery side.
The fiery side, yes. Yeah.
Right. So that is so you're not looking for a job in England right now, or you would if the right one came up?
Of course I would, because I can't. I think there's probably 5 or 10 managers on the planet that can pick and choose. Most of us. There's a lot of guys like me. You can't pick and choose, and something comes. And even though you look at it, you go, that could be dangerous, because the team's not doing so well. Sooner or later, you've got to jump in, because you can be out too long. I've only been out 4 months or 5 months. And I've had a few opportunities to go back abroad, but it wasn't quite right. But I mean, if something came and if it was good, then, and it was at home, I would jump in probably. But I think I'm probably going to end up abroad again.
Okay, right. I'll tell you.
Is that a good agent then? Do you have a good agent, or do you do this come around by your own validity, or what?
No. I think the people who look after me are like my boy works for an agency, World Emotion, and they're very good. They don't look after managers; they look after players.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But so I get a lot of phone calls there, and when I went to Greece, it was through someone else. I have to be honest. It was through someone else, someone I've known a long time, who called me up and said, "Would you fancy it?" So, and that's how that came about.
Oh, good.
Now, I keep telling everybody you've been on your winter break, Sam.
Yes.
And I think some of our listeners and viewers didn't believe me. But have you been on a winter break, or has your phone been ringing?
My phone hasn't been ringing at all. No, it's been Very, very silent indeed, like you mean. So I was sunning myself, as you well know, in Dubai, my favourite place in the world. So
Apart from Bolton.
apart from Bolton,
Yeah.
of course.
But you used to like Sardinia, didn't you?
I love Sardinia. Yeah.
I remember.
I definitely love Sardinia, but yeah.
Anywhere hot.
But that would be another place in Europe in the summer. Obviously, this time of the year, it's not that warm over in Europe. So Dubai is the quickest place for guaranteed sun at only 6.5 hours on the plane.
Okay.
Like I mean,
So he has been on holiday.
and three flights out of Manchester from Emirates means you can pick and choose when you feel like going. So
Here he is getting his next flight for free.
there you go.
I think that part of the reason why people were a bit like, is he really on holiday? Is of course because Sunderland, as far as I know, still haven't appointed a new manager, and you've both been at Sunderland.
I had the fans really, for whatever reason, that they really, well, probably because my second game in, we beat Newcastle 3-0, and the fans, obviously Newcastle fans won't like hearing this because obviously I was a manager there for a short time, but there was singing 6 in a row, 6 in a row, 6, and I was coming off going, I was just happy we'd won. Like I mean, Newcastle. I mean, I was panicking. We're bottom of the league, like with 3 points after 10 games. You know what I mean? And I'm going, it's Newcastle. Steve McLaren was manager, and it was a fluke of a win, to be honest. But it didn't matter.
A win's a win.
And I'm going, what's this 6 in a row? I said, well, that's Sunderland beating Newcastle 6 times in a row. So. Oh, that's amazing. That's not happened much in the history of both clubs.
No,
but it's very important that both clubs are in the Premier League up there. You know, I mean, Sunderland were never at the bottom 4, 5 until the last 2 games of the season, and they had a 44,000 average crowd.
Would you, if your phone rang for Sunderland, would you be interested?
Well, I'm not so sure who the owner is, what the format is, what as you well know, I've said this many times before, is if they interview me, the interview is obviously the most important thing to me on the ambition of the club, the financial stability of the club, the investment in the club, the quality of the players, what is my role. In other words, who is interfering? Because I found out now that the interference from above is getting more, in my opinion, more and more difficult to deal with than ever before. And you can easily lose your job by, I understand that they're important, but I also understand that it could be the downfall of the manager, which is the sporting director. So if that combination is a good one, then a football club can grow, because you don't very often speak to the owners anymore. You're speaking to the board and employees like yourself. So all those things come in line. I met Ellis Short, flew back over from my villa in Spain, sat down with Ellis Short and not expecting this phone call November, and sat with him, and I'd heard a lot about him. You know, Bruce had been there, Martin O'Neill, you know, so I heard that aside, I have to make my own mind up. Can I deal with the personality? Can I deal with him? You know, can I persuade him to help me? Because without that help, we are not going to get out of trouble. With other words is, and I've said this before, what's going to happen in January? What are you going to let me do? Yeah. By the time January comes, I'm going to let you know what we need. And he said, well, I'll be there. And I say, well, how much does that mean? So there has to be a figure on it. A reason, not an estimate, not an actual, but you know.
It's simple, because when I was at Sunderland, Ellis was still the chairman, but I never had one conversation with Ellis.
Oh, isn't that funny, huh?
Never met the man.
No. Well, he come up on a plane once and to watch a game, which wasn't that often. He watched most of the London matches. He flew up in his big jet, his big private jet, like him, and landed at Newcastle Airport, and came to see me. We won that particular night, and so I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well," I said, "Look, what about, don't we go for a bite to eat? What? I said, I'm up here, I'm doing now, I'm on my own. Let's go to Romano's. And did you go to Romano's when you were there?
Once or twice.
Everybody goes to Romano's up there in Sunderland. So I ended up having another drink. Let's have another chat, have another drink. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Where do you want to go? Come on, you know what I mean? It just, and I think he might have got more out of it than I did, because I don't think it happened before. I think the distance between me and the managers was so far, and it was my choice to try and deal with a very difficult personality. I mean, he could blow his top and have a go, understandably, because he's put a lot of money into Sunderland, But I enjoyed the journey, and Moyes didn't enjoy it so much after he took over from me, like you mean. But
it's a great club.
I respected Ellis in the end.
It's a great club. I only dealt with Martin Bain. I spoke with Martin Bain, who was the CEO, and when I arrived there, we were bottom or second bottom. So we needed a big January, I got there in December. We needed a big January. But I never had one conversation with Ellis. He wouldn't because he wanted to sell the club.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't engage with me. Not one. He wouldn't take a phone call and it's funny, like you arrive with someone at a different period. He's got obviously different things he wants to do. I think he'd had enough of Sunderland because he had invested a lot of money. I think he thought that as well. It's because Sunderland is it's a great club. Like Sam says, 40,000. It's an amazing club. And if you live in that area, if you spend any time in that area in the northeast,
absolutely,
a special place, because it's like religion football. And
it's like a goldfish bowl. It's just them there, but it's all the whole weekend is built around. What's happening at the football?
What's
club,
happening at the football club? Yeah, it's an amazing place.
Were they doing the documentary when you were there?
Sadly, yeah. It was okay, the documentary. I haven't seen it. Like my wife watched it. I've not watched it, but I'm from an era where the changing room's in a sanctum. I don't like people in there. I don't like that. And I didn't know about the documentary until Martin came to Winchester to speak to me about the job. So I had a few days with Martin in Winchester, signed the contract. And when Kit Simons went there, was my assistant. On the Saturday, they were playing Millwall. I wasn't arriving till the Sunday. And so Kit said, you may not want to go off the plane on Sunday. And he said, well, it's Saturday night. He called me. They drew 2-2 in Millwall. He said, Duncan Watmore was one of my best players. Has done his ACL.
Again. Was it the second time?
Second time,
I think so,
yeah. He said he's out. I was like, oh no, he's like one of our best players. He said, and there's a documentary. I said, what documentary? Is there a documentary out? He said, no. We're in the middle of a documentary at Sunderland. I said,
and they didn't tell you when they...
No, I didn't know about it, till I got up there. And he's like, well, yeah, this sort. He said, but don't worry, they won't be in the dressing room. So I was like, wow, yeah. But the people who made the documentary, they were really good. They were really good. They respected my wishes. They wanted a lot of time on the training ground, but they didn't come in the dressing room. So it was okay, But it felt a little bit strange. I mean, there's lots of clubs that are doing it now. And
you did one of the first ones, don't you?
Yeah.
Reedy.
Yeah. Reedy, yeah, that's right.
Reedy did one at Sunderland,
I remember that, yeah.
And I got sacked at Blackpool. Reedy got me up to do the academy for a while. And I was just sitting in the background thinking, I'm going to watch how Reedy goes on, and they were doing the documentary on that.
That's right.
They got relegated that season,
that's right.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Like you mean. So it was interesting. It was interesting for me because I was working for Reedy, and obviously Reedy said, look, if another job comes up for you, that's okay. Sort the academy out, because I'd done that at Preston, and watching cameras and watching that documentary, and I was like, Reedy, what are you doing? Like, I was thinking, this could be damaging for your career. I mean, it wasn't in the end, because Reedy's Reedy, as everybody knows, but doing a documentary and getting relegated is an hard one to take, which is probably similar to what Sunderland was.
No, it was like new territory for me. I can't say I felt comfortable with it at all, but more and more people are doing it nowadays. It seems to be the thing to do.
Oh, it is a
I
thing.
love it. I'm not gonna. Manchester City do one every year. They've just sold one this year to Netflix. I read that it's getting released in April. I love it. I love seeing, because we don't get
You don't get to see the insides.
I do love it. We couldn't have you here and not talk about Wales, obviously,
Ooh,
of
absolutely.
course. And then as soon as I think about you and the Euros in Wales, I immediately think about Gareth Bale. So what was it like for you as a manager to have a player of, I mean, is it fair to call him generational?
Oh, he's the best player we've ever had. I think he's the most successful overseas player ever to, not Wales, England, Scotland, Ireland, ever to go abroad. He's won 4 Champions Leagues. No one's ever done that. So he's like, he's just easy. You don't coach players that good. You don't have to coach them. You just have to make sure they've got what they need. You don't. I would never once say to Gareth, when the ball's there, you need to be
that.
No, never.
I was saying that to you before.
No, never ever. You kind of lose them if you disrespect them if you do that, and if you do that once, you don't get a second chance. So I just left them alone, to be honest with you. And just, have you got everything you need? Do you need something else? Is there something we're not doing? So it was easy.
Keep Gareth happy.
Please don't get injured.
Exactly. Please don't train today.
So what are you doing with the rest of your team? I mean, you're selecting the rest of your squad. Are you building them around Gareth?
Around him and Ramsey, because when Gareth played on the left, we played 4-2-3-1. Because obviously he tracked back to help the full back out. And Wales at the time, we weren't like, a team, we were normally under the cosh a lot. So most of his work was defensive. And by the time he'd get the ball in further up the pitch, he'd lost a lot of energy. And Ramsey was the same. So I tried to come up with a formation that was going to complement them too. And we could get the best out of them too offensively. But at the same time, on a transition, when we lost it, we needed bodies behind the ball. And the only way we could do that was playing with 3 at the back. 3 at the back, 2 number 6s. So we had 3 centre backs, 2 holding midfielders, and then we had 2 number 10s, Bale and Ramsey, with a striker and the wing backs. It was the only way we were safe in the transition was playing that formation. And it worked well for Bale and Rambo because they got that freedom offensively. And then if they did lose it, we had enough bodies behind the ball that, because teams at that level, Premier League's the same. 2 or 3 passes, they cut you open, it's finished, it's over. So you need to be in the right areas, or you need to have enough bodies. And that's why we played that way. But yeah, for sure, it was because of Bale and Ramsey that I used that formation.
We talked a lot about your backroom staff, by the way, because obviously I had a couple working with me, Ryland, and and that spell about what you did with I know you did the preparation and what you did, which is a lot of what I'm about, was like multi impressive when they came back and told us about it. Like, you mean,
well, when I started with Fulham, I didn't know a lot, and I started asking questions. So I started to find out things about what you did, because you went to America, Sam. Didn't you?
That's right. Yeah,
and all your preparation. And
That's
I remember at Bolton, you had more staff at Bolton than we had at Fulham.
Yeah.
And I said, in my head, I was like, I think I know why he's doing that, because he's trying to bridge the gap. He's got what he's got quality wise, but he's got great quality of staff around that bunch of players that's going to get the best out of what he's got. And it's basically what we did with Wales. Speedy got the job. Speedy went in there, started to change things because of you, because of what you did at Bolton. And Speedy, I was on the phone to Speedy trying to bring it to Fulham, and he ended up going to Bolton. So I had a big fallout with him. I said, because we've been mates since we were 10.
That's right.
Anyway, but
Moyes rang him while he was in my office as well.
Did he?
And I'm shouting, "Piss off, Moyes! There's no chance, mate. You're too late again, Moyes."
he told me
something like that.
We were up in the mountains in Austria, and he come back and he said, "I tried to call." I said, "Did you, Paul? Tried to call me?" I said, "You've gone with Allardyce, haven't you?" So he ended up going there. But and Speedy got those ideas from Bolton. From what you did at Bolton and all your preparation. So when I arrived in Wales, a lot of it was in place, Okay, you had your own things, of course you do. But Ryland was really good. Like, Ryland is a pain in the arse.
He is a pain in the arse.
Pain in the arse.
You're right.
But he's like, in his preparation and his details is really, really good. As good as I've worked with.
Doctor and masters of sports
Yes.
science of
Yeah.
What was
the
his
highest.
role now?
He's not now. He's
Or then, sorry.
I think he's with the is it with the Ivory Coast?
well, he was with most people.
Right. Okay.
He's over.
As like
he's
a
a consultant now.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a consultant. He writes these papers now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, like he does these papers on physical, mental psychology.
Wow.
You know, so
Yeah.
it takes a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to cope with what he wants. I'm saying, we do have to do a bit of coaching every now and again.
he's always hard.
So
he's hard,
I am the manager.
Yeah, I know.
I do make the decisions in the end.
He's hard. He's hard work, but he's really good. Really, really good. And he'll hold his hands up and tell you he's hard work, but he is really good. Like Sam says, is like some of the he goes down certain tracks and it's hard to keep up with him. He's like, what's that? And you like say, well, we need to do 45 minutes here on this on a big pitch. And he's like, well, no, because the D cells and the X cells.
That's right. Yeah.
No, we need to do this, right? And we're playing against Belgium, but he's like hands on, and he's an intelligent boy. He's good at his job. But all that preparation with Wales was kind of Speedy started it because he got it from Bolton, and then we kind of finished it off, if you like. But our boys, our Welsh players, we had to try and get that they wanted to come to Wales, even if they were carrying an injury, because they felt safe and they felt looked after. So it meant we had to invest in the staff, invest in technology, invest in the medical side. And it's hard. Like you say, you've got to manage up.
Yeah,
speak
they
to
have
the
to convince
CEO,
them to pay for it, isn't it?
because they can't touch it, can they?
Yeah,
No.
they can't see the benefit.
No.
No.
So that was quite hard. That was probably as difficult a job for me to get them to invest more, because it's not like you saying I'm going to buy a player, because they can see that all this stuff they can't see because they don't know the ins and outs of it, what you're doing with the players. But that grew and grew and grew, and I think the big secret of our success there was the preparation was massive.
Are you following Wales now?
All the time.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
It's worse when you're outside looking. I can see why supporters get so angry, because if you're outside of it, you're helpless, really. So, and we've got this game coming up, and we're at home, and we're the fancy team. We're not always at our best when we're the team that's expected to win the game. We're better off sometimes when we're fighting against a team that's expected to beat us. So this will be a tough game for us coming up.
So would like Wales in the Euros. I'm Scottish, so I'm so happy that
Gary Speed did me a great favour when I started at West Ham. I started at West Ham, and you're obviously struggling for staff and stuff like that. You have to go in and blitz it. You know what I mean? Get the right temperament going, just with the stamina. So he rang up and said, "Do you need a goalkeeping coach?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "Martin Margerson."
He played for City at some point.
Yeah, he did, Martin. Yeah.
He said, Don't even bother about anybody else." And of course, having worked with Speedo in the fact that he came from Newcastle to Bolton, such a fitness fanatic, and took all the stuff that we did on board, was a great advocate for it, and brought the young lads on. But Martin had it, and absolutely know how good he was or he wasn't. So we signed him on at West Ham and had him everywhere after that.
He's excellent.
So he's very, very good.
Really,
indeed.
really good.
So,
I was lucky with Wales. I had Martin. I inherited Martin. Then Martin went to England, and then we got Tony Roberts. Tony's at AC Milan now. But two guys I played with, actually, both. And it's not just they're really super good at their jobs. That as people, they're good people. And if you get both, sometimes you can get someone that's really good. No, it's not exactly your type. You can still work with them because you want the best. But if you get both good people and they're good at their job, you swam the channel. And Tony Roberts and Martin Margerson, both with Wales, were fantastic. Really good.
Love that idea of a personal recommendation in every industry. Yeah, love that. On Arsenal as well, I mean, Saka, how good is he? How highly are you rating him? Can we call him world class yet? Because Rio Ferdinand says we can't.
Right. No, I would say he's world class. I would disagree with Rio on that. I think he is world class. I think sometimes when we see homegrown players, we don't, like Ben Foden or Phil Foden. We don't because they're homegrown, they're from where we're from. If Phil was Spanish, or if one of the homegrown boys were from another country, we kind of look at them and go, "Oh no, that's world class."
Well, I don't want to be disrespectful here, and sorry for just interrupting, but I have to say this when it comes into my mind. Phil Foden contributes more than Haaland at the moment.
He's an amazing player. Amazing
Because
player.
of his, we all know he's the world beater of goal scoring. He's phenomenal. But the overall contribution that Phil Foden's doing in his off the field deeper play, his tracking back, his passing, his assists, and his goals is just at this moment in time unbelievable, and second to nobody else in the Premier League, in my opinion, at the moment.
Best player in the league right now. A couple of quick things also to touch on. When we mentioned City there, we might as well, just because it's me and because I can ask the questions on here. Give us your opinion on the derby.
Oof.
How bad? In fact, let's change my question. How bad were Manchester United?
Do you know why? I thought I quite like what Ten Hag tried to do against Man City, because I think sometimes if you're Man United, ego gets in the way, and the fact of the matter is, Manchester United are not good enough as a team at the moment to be Manchester United, if you know what I mean. Manchester United are always fighting for the title, cups, Europe. That's their history, and this current Man United team is not good enough. It's just not at the moment. So they went there to play City, knowing he knows Ten Hag, if I play open against this team, we're going to get ripped apart. Yeah. So he didn't. He shut the shop up. Rashford's deep. Everybody's playing deep. Every time, most of that game, City had 3 centre backs. The way Pep does it, he brings a full back in. Probably halfway in the Man United half. Starting possession, because that's how deep Man United was. Because stunning goal from Rashford. He's like, right, let's hold on to this. And no, I don't have a problem
more
with that.
Breakaways where
they could have gone.
Had they got in on the goalkeeper, should have maybe got it to 2-0 before Man City got the sort of chances before. Everybody keeps going about Haaland missed, like I mean, as if he shouldn't have missed it, like I mean, and he should have done this or he should have done that. The beauty about that man is it doesn't bother him.
No, exactly.
It doesn't play on his mind, does it? He puts the next one in.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think that's when you get a specialist goal scorer like that.
Yes, inevitable, isn't it?
Never bothered about the misses.
No, they know there's another one going to arrive any moment.
Coming and they're going to put it in. So,
all the best strikers are like that.
But I think Manchester United, to get a result, can only play counter-attacking football at the moment with the boys around them, with the top 8. The rest of the time they can go out and play or try and play like Man United and actually win it. But the other ones, it shut the shop up and play counter-attacking football.
I think
has been the best bet for them. Like I mean,
this is not a Man United team. Sorry, Sam. This is not a Man United team like the Man United we expect. Like squashbuckling football, loads of bodies going forward, creating chance after. That was some years ago. That they haven't been like that for a while.
No, the always thing about Man United is if you're a centre half playing for Man United under Sir Alex, you would only be bought if you can handle 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Because not many teams or not many managers would say if they've got 3 attacking, you'd have 4 defending.
You always want one more. Yeah.
You always want one more. Yeah. That was how you brought up, wasn't it? Like
exactly, yeah.
But with Sir Alex in Man United attacking, that the 2 centre halves had to be handled 1-on-1. So they could keep those attacks going. So if there was a breakout, they could deal with it. They can't do that now.
No, they can't. City do it.
Yeah.
Pep does it because they can do it. They're good enough to do it. Yeah.
I love asking the questions. Just ask the questions and just sit back. It's wonderful. Since we last saw you, I cannot believe this, Sam. I had to double check. Since we last saw you, something big happened, and we've got to go back. We've got to go back a few weeks now. Jurgen Klopp's leaving Liverpool, and we haven't had your thoughts on it yet. It feels like forever ago he announced that now, by the way.
Yes.
What do you think? What did you think when you heard it?
Well, it's like you can't keep something like that under wraps forever. It's going to get out sooner or later in the world of football today. So done before Christmas. Obviously, there was an undertaking to keep it quiet, and unfortunately, I thought that they'd like to have kept it quiet till the end of the season. It wasn't to be. So the announcement came out. Do I understand it? Absolutely. You know, as the toll, as we've talked about how difficult, as the toll of management for all those years. When I look back about my time, the only time I was out of football, and it wasn't that long, is when I lost my job, and I didn't lose that many jobs. But I was never unemployed for more than 3 or 4 months before I was in again. Until recently, which is a lot of it's my own choice, not football's choice as well. But so I can understand it. Can they change his mind? I think they should try. Whether they will or whether they won't, it'll be another factor. What is his family saying? Is it? I don't think it's an illness or anything like that. I just think it's the need for a complete break with the strain of managing Liverpool
and the type of the way he manages,
and the way he manages, and the fact he's looking at the squad. And let's face it, unfortunately, Liverpool's spending doesn't come into line of Man United or Arsenal or
they still spend though.
Man City. Yes, they do, but they do spend under the regime of the ins and outs. And the Man City do it now. They do the outs as well as ins now, but it took them 10 years to get to there. You know, most of the time it was ins, and just a few outs, like you mean. So the deficit would be 200 million between ins and outs. I mean, recently they actually made a profit the other year, didn't they? So, but Liverpool's has always been more tight knit financially than that. And somebody can always buy somebody from Liverpool if they offer enough. I think. And I think that may be can I win anything else? Can I? The beauty of the youngsters is very refreshing. If they can keep it up. And that might he might choose to stay because of those youngsters.
Maybe.
Because if they're going to be the future of Liverpool, that's going to go on for quite a while.
What he said when they won the final.
Lee Clark's son played in the final.
Jack,
You know what I mean? Jack? And Lee Clark's played all his life, never won a goddamn medal. His son's played 2-3 games, and he's going like that to his dad.
I text Clarky when Jack came on. I text him. I said at least he runs back and tracks his runners because Clarky never tracked the runner.
No.
He only went forward, Clarky. But I think Jurgen's reaction after the game when they won the final was almost, it looked like he was more like proud of that.
He was.
Because they were so young, the players on the pitch, than he was of anything else he's won. And you might be right, Sam. Maybe you look at that and go, these young players, maybe that'll be a factor.
You would, I mean,
Stood
Fergie in good for it. Of course he can. Fergie did it. He said, I can't, The family said to him, like, you're no good retiring now, get back.
I'm going to bring we always finish on quick fire questions. I'm conscious of the time because you are off to an LMA event.
I am, yes.
So I'm going to bring the quick fire questions forward and I'm going to ask them to be as quick as you possibly can try, Sam. Sam can't do quick fire, Chris. You just cannot do it. So, where would you? I'm going to bring them forward and tie into another question that I had. Where would you rank Klopp in the Premier League's greatest ever managers?
I would say top 3. Premier League managers. Top 3.
Premier League.
Yep.
Yeah, top 3. If you go beyond that, you wouldn't put him in the top 3 if you went to Paisley, Shankly.
No, that's different. Yep. There's Division 1, wasn't it?
Top 3. So even there in my head, you're either not having Pep, Fergie, or Wenger.
I know.
Shall I push you to? No, it's quick fire. I'll let you have that one, Chris.
I'd say top 3. Yeah.
Okay. Huge game this weekend. City take on Liverpool at Anfield. Prediction for the game, please.
Depends on Liverpool's senior players being fit, because I'm not so sure the youngsters will handle Man City. From the other point of view, Man City is still a bit leaky, goal-wise.
Yep.
Which is unusual. When they're going to win what they normally win, they're not quite as leaky as they are. So I'd say it's a draw. sit in the fence as usual.
Okay.
So this is quick fire. This
Yes.
is quick fire.
That was
right?
quick.
Okay.
That was very
That
quick
was-
for me. Honestly.
Yes, that was amazing. Like
Wasn't it?
usually that's a
Wasn't it, lads? That was
5-minute
quick,
answer.
wasn't
Yeah.
Quick fire. Right. No, I'm going to go 2-1 City. I just think Liverpool, great team. But I think watching the way Man City beat Man United, they're showing something at the minute, City, because of all their experience. They've been there before. And then in a rich vein of form, I'm going to go Man City 2-1.
Oh, Chris, you just made my stomach jump. Genuinely, it went. Bleh.
And
'Cause I don't think I've
Phil Foden.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard anyone say they think City can win at Anfield. So, you've given me hope. Right, I love that. Okay, as things stand right now, who wins the Premier League? No offence, City allowed.
I'm always a Man City on the strength and depth of their squad, the experience of winning the league, and that, and the experience of Pep when needed. The only other factor that might affect anybody is the injury run between now and then.
Yeah.
Those who keep the players fitter,
the
longest could win the league. Those who run into more, I don't think Liverpool can keep up what they're keeping up if they keep getting the injuries. It will tell eventually. So, and Arsenal seem to be pretty fit at the moment in their selection. So, but I still think experienced Man City, that was try to be as quick as I possibly could.
Very good.
I would agree. I think the big thing for Liverpool is the injuries, and I think that could affect them unless they get those boys back double quick. I'm not sure how much these young players can keep going back, and because they're so young, they're brilliant, but they're so young. And Man City's experience, March, April, these games are coming up with huge pressure. Man City have been there before, so I'm gonna say it'll be Man City.
Oh gosh, I can't handle this. It's only March. Okay. In similar vein, if Spurs beat Villa, they'll go 2 points behind them. Villa or Spurs make the top 4. Which one are you going for?
I'm still with Villa. Consistency, most little indifferent spell, but coming back again. And Ollie Watkins scoring goals.
I'd agree. Yeah, I think Aston Villa. Luton's hard place to go. Luton, and Villa went there and went 2-0 up. Then Luton came back. I think Villa showed great signs of a team that believe they're going to finish in the top 4. I think Tottenham, they play some amazing football, but they're a little bit hit and miss. They can be a bit milky still, but I think Villa have been more. Over the course of the season, Villa have been the better team, and I think they'll just edge it.
Love that. Is there a club that you almost managed that nobody knows about that you can tell us?
There's a nightclub in Croydon. I always I almost spoke it. No, but that didn't come off. There's probably one or two, but I can't tell you. No, I think. Well, when you speak to clubs and you want that, sometimes you don't want anybody to know you're speaking to a club, or they don't want anybody to know. So you don't want to really break giving you words. So, but I thought there was 2 or 3. Can I tell you this quick story?
Yes.
So after Fulham, I was at an event, a charity event. I spoke to an ex-player who was a little bit bitter and twisted, and he said to me, I got the sack from Fulham about a year or so. He said, "You'll never work in the Premier League again, I don't think." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Okay, nice for you to say that." Anyway, that played on my mind a little bit. And when I came, I was still.
Why did you think that?
No, that's what he said to me.
No, but why do you think he said that?
Someone said to me, he was standing with someone I knew, and they said that this guy was as good as Rio Ferdinand. I said, "No chance, he wasn't." I said, "You were a good player." I said, "You weren't Rio Ferdinand." I said, "He's another level to you and me and the rest of us." I said,
Yeah.
And I don't think he liked that. So it was kind of a bite back, and he said, "You never work in the Premier League again." And when I was with Wales, I had 2 or 3 conversations with Premier League clubs. 2 I could have taken, but I didn't. I don't want to leave Wales. And I always wanted to call him up and say, "Remember you said that to me?" I could have taken that job. Don't know why. A little bit petty, but I can't tell you the clubs.
Oh,
and you can't tell us the player.
And what I can say, they're not in the Premier League anymore. I can't tell you the player, no.
Love that. Thank you. We've got 2 listener questions to finish on. We always ask our listeners, our wonderful subscribers, if you'd like to ask a question for Sam or for any of our guests, you can always do so commenting on the videos or tweeting us. We've got a Twitter, tweet me or tweet our Twitter. So 2 to finish on. Harry Guttridge has asked, What was it like working with Mohammed Al Fayed at Fulham? Do you have any standout stories?
Yeah, I'm not sure I could. I don't think I could tell.
I get it.
Yeah, I remember speaking to Sam when we spoke earlier. I speak to Sam a lot about Mohammed because I couldn't always handle. He was such a big character, and I was very young, inexperienced. But he was. I got everything to thank him for because, like I said earlier, he's probably the only man on the planet, only chairman who's going to give a 32-year-old rookie Premier League manager's job, and that was Mohammed. He saw things differently to most. That's
why he was most successful, eh?
Probably, Sam. Yeah, he took big chances. He gambled a lot, and so yeah, he was. But I don't have anything negative to say about Mohammed Al Fayed. He's a good person.
And the last question for today, and to be honest with you, I don't know how this is going to go. So if this doesn't go well, this will be edited out. So there is a question for you that we have. Does JJ Whispers in Reigate mean anything to you?
JJ Whispers, Reigate, Swansea, Croydon, they're everywhere, aren't they? So, and I've lived in all these areas. So I remember there was a place in Reigate. This is 20 years ago. Do you remember Big Ian Pearce? Big centre back. Yeah.
He was at West Brom as
he's there now. He's still up. He's still there, Big Pearcey. So we used to live close to each other near Reigate. Another lad, Scotty Mean, who was a player for West Ham. Scotty retired early, and then he went into the acting game, Scotty. And we used to go there, when we were younger, yeah.
Okay, I wonder why we've
been asked that.
So, do you know who asked that question? I don't know. Do you know what? This still might get edited out, but I'm saying it. Do you know who asked that question?
Who?
Our good friend Mark White.
All right.
Mark White, the Dorking manager and owner, wanted us to ask you about JJ Whispers
he was
in
funny,
Reigate.
Yeah. He's owner and manager, Dorking Wanderers.
Owner and manager.
And manager, yeah.
Do you know him?
I don't think so.
I don't think I do.
What a weird question.
Or maybe I would if maybe it was something
met
that
him.
maybe I met him, yeah.
You'd remember him if you met him.
You would remember.
Right, okay.
You would have remembered him.
All right,
definitely,
okay.
Definitely.
Right.
Okay, so this needs to go, next time we see Mark White, which we're hoping to, we will have to ask him why.
Well, I said I'd do his FA Cup day, didn't I? Next season. No, not this year, actually.
He was on the podcast and his team at Dorking have never qualified for the FA Cup first round.
Right, yeah.
And so he's asked Sam if he will go down and manage
Yeah.
or go in the change room at least and have a word
Yeah.
for one game only.
Oh, good.
So
good.
we will then ask him why he wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, I don't know why he wants to ask me that, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, there's no skeletons there, by the way.
Yeah.
No, there's none, no.
Anyway.
Sam,
thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Good to be back. And thank you to all our subscribers. Keep watching, keep subscribing if you can. And great to be here again.
You here next week?
Absolutely.
We're here next week. Hope you're here next week too. Thank you for joining us on another episode of No Tippy Tappy Football, brought to you by William Hill.